Now to a special report. If you've flown this year, your flight has likely been delayed or canceled at some point. This travel season has been rough, and now big changes are being considered at the Colorado Springs Airport. The air traffic control tower would close overnight to address a staffing crisis. It was a directive planned for weeks, but after KRDO13 investigates started asking questions, it was yanked just hours before the closure. KRDO13's Josh Helmuth got an exclusive interview with a former air traffic controller who quit his job because of the crisis.
Crash. This is alert 3.
2025 started with an unprecedented commercial airline tragedy in Washington.
Right there, that horrific fireball.
Just weeks later, an emergency landing in Denver,
48 engine fire copy,
injuring a dozen people. Meanwhile, air traffic control issues
It's at a full-blown staffing crisis.
continue to plague air travel.
We've had a lack of investment in infrastructure. We've had a lack of investment in staffing.
Christopher Hastings worked as an air traffic controller for nearly a decade, much of his time at the Pueblo Airport Tower.
And on any given day, how many lives are in your hands?
Oh, thousands.
Hastings can't comment on incidents or crashes due to aircraft mechanical issues, but he's willing to explain what's happening during your flight at air traffic control.
The facilities are old. I know at Pueblo Tower we had a roof leak that caused one of the tiles to fall down while we were working. At other facilities they've had to deal with asbestos mitigation, flooding. Everyone's working 6 days a week. Equipment is another area that needs to be focused on.
Is it true that air traffic control still uses floppy disks?
There are portions of equipment that, yeah, you have to use a floppy disk to update it.
Is it safe to fly right now?
It's safe to fly, but I would say the system is strained.
So strained that Hastings quit last year. In fact, staffing shortages are affecting the Colorado Springs Airport. KRDO13 Investigates obtained an internal release in June from the Air Traffic Control Union and the Colorado Springs Airport announcing overnight closures to the COS Air Traffic Control Tower due to low staffing. It says effective July 13th, the COS Air Traffic Control Tower would shut down nightly from 2:30 to 5 a.m. to address, quote, serious ongoing staffing challenges. In fact, a reminder email was sent out to staff on Friday, July 11th at 8:50 a.m. announcing expanded hours of that closure. So I contacted the FAA, asked questions about the closure. We talked on the phone. My last text to them was sent at 10:49 a.m., again asking questions about the closure. Just 2.5 hours later, by 1:18 in the afternoon, the FAA unexpectedly announced they were canceling that closure at the airport indefinitely. We asked the FAA about the last-second change. They simply said they're still evaluating a proposal to temporarily close the Colorado Springs Air Traffic Control Tower during the overnight shift. So we went to the Colorado Springs Airport. Management here didn't want to go on camera, but they did invite me into their front office, and they allowed me to audio record our conversation.
Has the FAA been in communication with you about their shortages and what they're trying to do?
So initially, yeah. So that memo essentially came out after conversations with them. This is still a safe operation, regardless if the tower is open or closed. It's common practice within the United States that towers close overnight. The pilot can still broadcast on the frequency. There's just not a controller, you on the other end, to give directions.
And the staffing shortage isn't unique. According to this FAA plan just released last week, Denver, Colorado Springs, and the Pueblo Towers are all below their staffing targets.
Just naturally, if you are constantly exhausted and fatigued, you're going to make more mistakes. So that is already eroding one layer of safety, which is the controller itself.
Without saying any names, do you know for certain where there is an air traffic controller who made a mistake? Maybe they were coping on the job with stimulants or alcohol. Do you know for certain that that's happened here in Colorado?
Yes. I do. The men and women that work in air traffic, they're professionals. But there is some truth to there being that within the industry.
Despite the air traffic control crisis, 2025 is on pace to be one of the safest commercial flight years in a long time. The U.S. has had 10 commercial flight accidents so far this year. That's according to our count on the NTSB database. However, the data doesn't show all the close calls. KRDO13 Investigates did a deep dive into the Aviation Safety Reporting System database. In March of last year, 2 small planes nearly collided at the Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport in Broomfield. A controller reported needing, quote, greater staffing numbers. In September 2021 at DIA, only 3 controllers were on duty instead of the goal of 10, and those 3 controllers were in charge of 114 planes. They requested to lower the workload, but were denied. One anonymous controller said in the report, quote, "Working with so few controllers without reducing the arrival rate is an accident waiting to happen." And just on May 12th this year, the Denver Air Route Traffic Control Center in Longmont had a communications outage for 90 seconds. No one was hurt, but the FAA is investigating.
We reached out to the Air Traffic Controllers Union about the crisis, but we never got a response. Back in May, new Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced they're working on a new state-of-the-art system for air traffic controllers, but many believe that even if all of it's funded, we're still decades away from implementation. In Colorado Springs, Josh Helmuth, KRDO13 investigates.
Wow, decades. Well, the FAA announced that last year they are reviewing recommendations to make it easier for air traffic controllers to report mental health issues. The FAA is also making steps to hire more controllers more quickly by removing outdated training methods.